Good afternoon. I'm Roy Priest, and I am the new chair of the Board of the Housing Opportunity Commission. And I would like to first acknowledge and thank the county executive for reappointment, and also for the county council for appointing myself and Fran Kelleher for reappointment to the HOC Board of Commissioners. So I want to thank you very much for that. I also want to acknowledge and thank our former chair, Jackie Simon. She has served the commission in, I tell you, so many untold ways, besides just presiding over our commission meetings. So all the other things that she has done to represent HOC at other meetings, groundbreakings, conferences, workshops, so many things she has done. I mean, she is an indelible mark she has made on this agency. And so I want to thank you very much for your service, Jackie, and acknowledge the work that you've done.
Thank you.
Give her a big hand. I would also like to introduce the other officers of the commission. The vice chair of the commission is Francis Kelleher. The chairman pro tem is Rick Nelson. The other members of the commission who are present today are Linda Kroon, who just came in.
Thank you,
to my
Simon.
right, and to my left is Jackie Simon. Pamela Bird is absent today, but she makes up the sixth commissioner that we have. So I want to thank everyone for being present today. We want to start the meeting with our information exchange with our resident advisory board. Yeah. She has a speaker. She has a phone. She has a phone.
It has to be both. We'll get it for.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And for the record, my name is Ivana Kaufman, Vice President of the Resident Advisory Board. At our last meeting, we were presented with the PHA 5-year plan, and which we reviewed, voted, and approved. And our Executive Director, Stacey Spann, was there to present the Mortgage Purchase Program and HOC Home Ownership Program. We also are continuing our invitations to the internal agencies to bring their presentations to us. We look forward to the CFO and Resident Services and Property Management to come next. And also from our external agencies that we are looking for them to come and visit us, MEEP and the Montgomery County Community Affairs. We're also working with IT to have a more visible appearance on the website. There are tenants that look for the Resident Advisory Board and they can't find it. We are buried in one little area there, so we're hoping that we can improve that landing page for them. We're still accepting applications for membership. We're looking for about 3 more people and then we will close it out. Our new members were in attendance at our last meeting, Claudia Garcia and Chantel Thomas Riddicks. and they are on board. And we welcome back our staff advisor, Ms. Rita Harris. And our meetings are 2 hours long. They are every third Monday of the month, and if there's a holiday that falls on that Monday, we use the fourth Monday. And we invite you all to visit us at any point in time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Since you always come out religiously to our meetings, I'm going to take your offer up, and I'm going to come and visit you at one of the third Mondays for your meeting. So I'm going to do that very soon.
Please do.
Thank you very much. We're now moving to the community forum portion of the agenda. This affords opportunity for the community to come in and speak to the commission. And we ask you to affirm and pay attention to the 3-minute time allocation that we give to each speaker. So do we have any speakers who signed up to speak tonight?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
I don't mind being called madam. It takes time. Kevin Berdini.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
For the record, I'm Kevin Berenz, BACC. I guess it's a new day, new commission, new chair, and I'm hoping that the new chair would be as eager to get this cemetery issue off his plate as we are. So with that in mind, I'd just like to maybe ask, is that the case?
You asking me a question?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. We want to be able to resolve this matter going forward as quickly as we can. And I think the process has been in place to do that, and we are certainly participating as part of that.
I see. And I see you have a more bounce in your step today, Ms. Simon. So I guess you're not in the crosshairs at the moment, so that's good. So there are no new, I mean, there's been a rearranging of offices, but there's no new members of the commission, is that right?
That's correct.
I see. So I guess that's all I wanted to say, because I've really kind of run out of entreaties to ask you folks to do the right thing. But I certainly hope under new leadership from the chair that an earnest effort and a sober effort will be made to come to an equitable solution here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Other speakers?
Next speaker is Chris Rex. Chris Rex.
Okay. Sorry. Last name's Rigo. Hi, my name is Chris Rigo. I'm also with the Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition. And I just want to call upon the commissioners to recognize the Macedonia Baptist Church has been acting in good faith for over 3 years to try and rectify the situation with Moses Cemetery. And we are extremely grateful that some productive meetings have been taking place in the county council's office with Mark Ehrlich and other people attending, including many of you. We are looking forward to the upcoming meeting, and we are glad that there is some room to negotiate the issue of conveyance of some type of Moses Cemetery back to its rightful owner, which is Macedonia Baptist Church. We look forward to continue to engage in a productive dialogue with all of you, and we hope that we can resolve this effort this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more speakers.
Other speakers? I was hoping that Reverend Adebayo was going to be here tonight because I wanted to at least acknowledge the fact that I know that they're going to be celebrating their 100th anniversary on November the 7th. And March 7th, I'm sorry, March the 7th. And I know they've already sold out the event, so I know it'll be a great success. I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that HOC wants to commemorate that occasion, and we are looking for ways that we can also contribute to the scholarship fund that's been set up for the school, for the church. So I want to thank you very much for coming in. Please pass on to Reverend Adabelle our conveyance and acknowledgement of their 100th anniversary.
Thank you, yeah. Reverends Shagun and Marsha are stuck in traffic. They were planning to be here as well, but I'm delighted to pass on your message, as is Kevin Brendan and the rest of the BACC sitting behind you.
Yeah, thank you very much. No other, thank you. We'll move the agenda to the approval of the minutes of February the 5th, 2020. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
If it moved, second?
I second.
Properly moved and second to approve the minutes of February the 5th, 2020. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. Consent agenda. We have the approval of the nomination of Donna Boxer and Yvonne Cogman to the Board of Directors of the Housing Opportunity Community Partners Incorporated. Any discussion? Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
It's been properly moved and second to approve the nomination of two persons, Donna Boxer and Yvonne Cogman, to the Board of Directors of the Housing Opportunity Community Partners. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. We will now move on to the information exchange. First, a report from our Executive Director.
Certainly. All right, well, good afternoon and welcome. For the record, maybe for the 10th time today, my name is Stacy Spann. I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Opportunities Commission of Montgomery County. Commissioners, as is our custom each year, my Executive Director's report for this month will serve as the state of the agency, a report of where we've been and where we intend to go over the next year. So on that note, I'd like to begin by recognizing our new chair, Commissioner Roy Priest, our new vice chair, Commissioner Fran Kelleher, and our new chair pro tem, Commissioner, well, maybe not so new, but Commissioner Rick Nelson. I eagerly anticipate all we aim to accomplish together under the leadership of this accomplished triumvirate. And last week, I'd want to point out that Commissioners Priest and Kelleher were sworn in for their first full terms on the commission. If you didn't catch their February 11th interviews with the County Council, I suggest you take an opportunity to watch the video on the Council's website. When you do, you'll see, as the Council did, that the depth and breadth of experience and true vision we're gaining by retaining Commissioners Priest and Kelleher for our Board of Commissioners. I also want to take a moment to recognize our outgoing chair, Commissioner Jackie Simon. Thank you very much. Your steadfast guidance and commitment to mission have served HOC and our customers extremely well through every issue and every transaction. We thank you. We look forward to your continued service on our Board of Commissioners. And then finally, for those folks who were here earlier this afternoon, I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to once again congratulate our 2020 Honor Roll and Special Recognition honorees. We celebrated volunteers from the Tacey Foundation, as well as Ms. Annika Yardy, Princeton student, and Officer Brandon McLeod for their outstanding efforts on behalf of the thousands of individuals and families we serve every day. Without their passion and commitment, we simply could not fulfill our mission or support our customers at the level they deserve. So for that, I wanted to thank them as well. Okay, so I'll start in earnest now. Each year at this event, or this opportunity, prompts me to re-examine exactly what it means for us to be housers. And as housers, we have resolved that we focus on three things. We've heard it this afternoon, and we'll continue to hear it. We get people housed, we keep people housed, and we help people reach their fullest potential. Helping families achieve long-term success in these areas requires connecting all members of a household to housing, as well as robust selection of services to meet their needs and their goals. It means that we at HOC must focus not only on place, the properties and communities we help build and support, but also the people. meeting them where they are on their housing, education, career, and personal journeys. As housers, it's our duty to use every single tool at our disposal to bridge the gap and connect folks to opportunities that not only foster, but ensure equity and inclusion in our community. And in doing so, we create what we've called community-connected housing. Housing in neighborhoods with strong employment opportunities, career advancement, educational and recreational access that promote positive interaction between neighbors. Furthermore, community-connected housing requires an approach that recognizes both the social and fiscal benefits of creating truly socioeconomically diverse communities. And as you've all been paying attention to national and local politics lately, you've seen affordable housing emerge as a major topic for discussion as well as legislation. In fact, one of Montgomery County's very own, Delegate Vaughn Stewart, has introduced legislation inspired by the Vienna social housing model, closely related to HOC's own mixed income model and HOC and the model that the county has championed for many years now. As you know, this is a model that acknowledges the true values of diverse neighborhoods of individuals and families, how strategies around people and place can work in tandem to create the kind of dynamic communities we all want to live in. Further, as we know, where we live matters. It deeply impacts our growth and development as children and stays with us as we seek to age in place, in communities that keep us connected to healthcare and other essential resources. And in discovering the importance of place, we now know that the old public housing model, which isolated communities in pockets of poverty, simply does not work to help families climb the socioeconomic ladder. Nothing demonstrates that more definitively than our joint ribbon cutting and groundbreaking celebration at Elizabeth Square in the fall. With the progress we've made at Elizabeth Square, HOC has successfully converted our entire portfolio of public housing in favor of one that's more sustainable, but also mixed income, while working to continue to serve the same families and extend the depth and breadth of our affordable housing reach. Elizabeth Square demonstrates how we as an agency are reimagining affordable housing while staying true to the value and practice of inclusivity that this county pioneered. But we're not just breaking new ground on new communities, we're ensuring that we invest in the communities we're already in. Completing the year 15 buyback at Strathmore Court, the Metropolitan, Georgian Court, the Barclay Apartments, and Stewart Townhomes have allowed us to embark on recapitalization and renovation of these properties, ensuring that we reinvest in these communities while keeping units affordable for the long term. Furthermore, the allocation of the new project-based vouchers helped us serve customers, including many seniors, with deeper subsidies to help them stay in their communities. While a project-based voucher competition anticipated for this summer will ensure that we create more housing opportunities for Montgomery County residents on the private market. Finally, we recognize the critical importance of meeting families where they are on the spectrum of housing need. It's why we look beyond rental opportunities toward creating pathways to home ownership for customers who are already prepared to embark on that journey. In June 2019, the county's Department of Housing and Community Affairs dedicated $1 million to phase 1 of the Montgomery County Homeownership Assistance Fund administered by HOC. Before the end of July 2019, all funds were expended, providing 44 households with an average secondary loan of just under $23,000. Households that received that assistance had incomes ranging from $45,000 to $152,303. This oversubscription led the county to its second commitment of $1 million during fiscal year 2020, helping to support more than $4.5 million of first mortgages for families pursuing homeownership in our community. That's 4.5 times leverage for all you mathematicians out there. We're proud to continue this partnership with the county to provide homeownership tools to Montgomery County residents. And we know that this county is an exceptional place for families to live, work, and grow. And down payment and closing cost assistance helps people take advantage of these opportunities. At HOC, we're housers, but that involves much more than the development of affordable housing. It takes more than tools that address the bricks and mortar to provide families with a pathway out of poverty. It means that when we serve a customer, we serve the whole customer, using housing as a platform to address their health, educational, workforce, and myriad other needs. Any successful approach for solving affordable housing issues also requires strategies for reducing poverty and increasing access to opportunity, focused on whole family outcomes. Whole family, or two gen outcomes, are at the center of education and housing. And leading research reveals that children experience better life outcomes when they relocate to higher opportunity areas. Additionally, children of families who move using housing choice vouchers generate significantly greater earnings later in life. Despite this evidence, we cannot solve multi-generational poverty solely by moving families to high-income communities. Place alone is not a panacea. Developing and maintaining service connections and programs focused on the comprehensive and interwoven needs of both parents and children is an equally important lever. This 2-gen approach calls for focusing on opportunity creation and addressing needs for both children and adults simultaneously. And in keeping with that principle, we at HOC continue to reimagine our selection of services to include support for children, as well as their parents and guardians. Moreover, we're working to ensure that these services are impactful and measurable. When families move to communities of opportunity, strong service connections to career, educational, and recreational resources are paramount in ensuring that they can reach their fullest potential. Providing families with the highest level of service requires taking a whole family approach, focusing on creating opportunities for and addressing the need of both children and families in their lives together. This approach recognizes that families come in all different shapes and sizes, and that families define themselves and the goals they hope to achieve. It means recognizing and respecting that success looks different for everyone and requires meeting families where they are along that continuum. HOC honors the diverse experience of the families we serve by acknowledging that our customers are the experts in their own lives. Adult programming, such as our family self-sufficiency and fatherhood initiatives, center around A, helping individuals identify goals, B, creating a plan of action, so that's P is the plan, of action to accomplish these goals, and C, offering customized supports along the way. These programs maintain elements of whole family approach, intentionally focusing on outcomes for both parents and children, such as financial literacy, tuition assistance, and healthy parenting skills. As an agency, we are leading in how we provide customer programming and services that have impact at scale, not because of the individuals we touch, but how that interaction impacts how they show up in their communities and in their families. The community we help create is evident in the family self-sufficiency participant, Ms. Wanshi Sala's story.
For me, it's a community because I don't have another family member. Just I create my own community through HOC, and I build friendship, and I be able, just like a village, I be able to raise my children through the program. My name is Winsha Sala, and I'm a mother of 4. So I couldn't be able to afford anything if it's not without HOC and the help I got from FSS and the friendship I built with my case manager, Anthony. They will teach you how to budget your finances, how to better your life and to get a good job and to go to school. I'm so grateful for me to have this kind of family to raise my children. I call it a family. You guys are my village.
Providing stable housing and programming for parents also allows us to address child well-being. HOC Academy offers after-school tutoring, homework clubs, and a multitude of STEM enrichment opportunities that help kids focus on attaining their own goals. Earlier this afternoon, we honored volunteer Annika Yardi for her hard work with STEM and robotics programming. And you heard how students' outlooks on their education and career paths were transformed from a single after-school or camp experience. While housing assistance gets families in the door, it's our ability to provide comprehensive, whole family programming that puts them on the path to reaching their fullest potential. So as government resources for our work continue to diminish, we will have to work harder and smarter to develop housing and deliver services at a level our customers deserve. If we hope to remain leaders in innovation in the affordable housing and community development space, then we have to be willing to step outside ourselves, think creatively about how to serve more residents of this county better. As we embark on this new year ahead, we will not rest on our laurels. We will keep our focus on doing what's right, and we'll continue to provide more services and more convenience for our customers. We will seek help from more people in our community, helping them to get on solid ground through our programming and service coordination. And through it all, we will choose to lead and focus on people as well as place. I wanted to thank you all, staff as well as commissioners, for being part of the HOC community. And on behalf of our entire staff, I'd like to say we look forward to an incredible year.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I certainly hope that there'll be some way for the general public to get a copy of your remarks that you just made, who did not watch this live stream. So it's on our website or something. It's a nice
Sure, we can
statement
post
of the
them.
work that's been done this year, so I hope we can put that up.
We can post them.
Okay. It's also now time for us to exchange any questions at all for Mr. Spann. And I want to thank you very much for your report.
Sure.
And now, in exchange between commissioners, let me start this off by saying, you all know that NIRO's legislative conference is coming up, and they have a special track for commissioners. And so I know that, Fran, you've been through the ABCs of commissionerhood, so,
Boot camp.
yeah, boot camp, she calls it. So that's going to be available again as part of the legislative conference, so please let staff know if you're interested in going.
And that's here in Washington,
It's gonna
isn't it?
be, yeah,
Yeah, so it wouldn't involve any out-of-town travel for
not at all.
anybody that wants to do that.
So you recommend it highly?
I learned an awful lot, and I thought it was really useful to be able to talk with commissioners from around the country about what their various housing agencies are doing, what issues they're facing, how they have addressed them. And I thought the content was well organized by NARO in terms of the structure of the information they went through, the legal background that you need to have some idea of, financial background, you need to have some idea of HUD's regulations. It was very helpful, yes.
Good. Any other information? I also just want the public to know that in terms of the way that the board commission is structured, we have 3 committees, and you're going to hear from those committees as part of this meeting. We have our Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee, which is chaired by Rick Nelson, and we have the Development and Finance Committee, which is chaired by Jackie Simon, and we have the Legislative and Regulatory Committee, which is chaired by Fran Kelleher. So those are the 3 committees that we continue to have, and those are the persons who will be serving as the chairs of those specific committees. So with that, any other exchange that you all have? If not, we can now move on to the regular agenda for, we have no administrative and special ratifications.
No.
And we can now go on to our committee report. The first committee report is Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee. Rick?
Yes. As the CFO and the budget director take the stand, we will begin a process of receiving our quarterly reports and approvals. The Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee has gone through each of these and is recommending acceptance and/or approval by the commission. The first is the acceptance of the second quarter FY20 budget to actual statements. Cornelia?
Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. For the record, I'm Cornelia Kemp, the Chief Financial Officer, and with me is Terry Fowler, our Budget Officer. The first item for presentation is the acceptance of the second quarter FY20 budget to actual statements. And I'll just give a little overview. The agency ended the second quarter with a net cash flow surplus of $1.9 million, which is a positive variance to our budget of about $302,000. The variance is primarily based on lower than anticipated
Good afternoon.
As Cornelia mentioned, we did end with a positive cash flow variance for this quarter, primarily from the savings in our general fund, a portion of which is delayed timing of expenses. Most of that is related to salary lapse and position changes that will carry through to the end. Within our opportunity housing portfolio, we have several properties that did exceed budget, but our current policy states that we will not take income above what was budgeted to be taken from an individual property. And we are looking at the performance of those that are not meeting budget to do projections as we get closer to year end and where they will end. Within the public housing program, we have one property, Elizabeth House, that is converting under RAD, and we did continue to receive money for the property under public housing, and that is restricted to the program. With the voucher program, we did end with an administrative surplus due to savings in administrative costs. That surplus is restricted and can only be used for future administrative costs for the program. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to address them.
Any questions?
Hearing no questions, I would move approval of resolution number 20-16.
Do you have a second?
Second?
It's been recommended and seconded to approve resolution 20-16. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposers, nay. So ordered. The next item,
Next item is the second quarter budget amendment, which will be presented by the same duo.
So the net effect of the second quarter budget amendment, it still maintains a balanced budget. It does affect both the operating and the capital budget. So our total operating budget has increased from $276.4 million to $279.7 million. The capital budget increased from $155.2 million to $155.4 million. And Terry will walk us through some of the details again.
Thank you, Cornelia. This budget amendment relates to the properties that the executive director mentioned previously that have expired out of their tax credit compliance and were donated back to the agency. The properties being Strathmore Court, Metropolitan, Georgian Court, Barclay, and Stewarttown. For Strathmore and Metropolitan, the affordable units are budgeted to have a shortfall that is covered by the market unit income. And for Georgian Court, Barclay, and Stewarttown, we are maintaining the cash restriction on those properties in this budget amendment. So we are moving over their operating and capital budgets for the 5 properties. And for the Metropolitan, because of the manner in which cash from a development corporation is taken, we are reducing the restrictions so that the money needed to cover the shortfall for the projected period of November through June of 2020 is available to cover the shortfall on the units in the affordable side of the property. And I'd be happy to address any questions you may have.
any questions about that? This is approval for resolution 20-17.
I would move approval of 20-17.
I second 20-17.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 20-17. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. So ordered. Thank you. Next item.
Next item is the first quarter budget amendment.
So this is for the calendar year properties, first quarter budget amendment. And as Terry mentioned, five limited partners transferred their interest, but 3 of them are done on a calendar year basis in terms of the budget. And we are also requesting to include the Fenton Apartments into the calendar year budget as well. And I'll let Terry.
Thank you, Cornelia. As Cornelia mentioned, Georgian Court, the Barclay, and Stewarttown operated on calendar year, and their budgets are approved on a calendar year. And when we adopted the budgets for calendar 20, we did adopt budgets for those properties. So this budget amendment is removing Georgian Court and Barclay for the entire calendar 2020, and Stewart Town will be removed out of the tax credit budgets from February 1 through December 2020. In addition, we are bringing forth the proposed budget for the 900 Thayer Fenton Silver Spring Apartments that recently came on, and that budget is presented to you in the packet for approval as well. And I'd be happy to address any questions related to the two parts of the budget amendment.
We have two resolutions to be approved for this action.
Yeah.
Do you have a motion?
I move approval of Resolution 20-18-A.
I second.
And probably moved and second to approve Resolution 20-18A. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered.
I now move approval of Resolution 20-18B.
I second 20-18B.
And probably moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. So ordered.
Thank you.
Next item.
I'm sorry. This is that wonderful time where we have to face reality of writing off some uncollectible debts. So, you want to go for it?
Commissioner, just allow me to
Cornelia,
give a quick, yes, a quick preamble though, because this is, you know, the way that this appears, this sort of write-off effort, it's as if, you know, it is sort of a casual thing. It's not. I want you to recall that we, the staff, have committed that we're going to bring it forth on a more regular basis, but the fact of the matter is, in meeting mission and keeping housing affordable, we also find that we happen upon customers who are sometimes unable to make rent. You know, life is happening, et cetera, and so the staff is resolved with the board that we would come forward with these write-offs regularly and consistently, and so we're writing them off in the most responsible way, but you know, it's not as if we want to.
Let me add to that, which I've done before. While this is part of the business of managing and running rental properties, and it occurs no matter what efforts are made, the BF&A committee has considerable discussion with the staff on what actions are being taken to, in fact, minimize the rental delinquencies, to help the families who might have rental delinquencies or who will be possibly having them in the future. So it is not something that, as you say, we take lightly. And I think the staff has, in fact, taken a number of steps to, in fact, mitigate this. But the reality in today's world, because of a whole host of reasons, most of which you all know, we're going to have people who will be unable to pay what they owe. And for that reason, it's a responsible fiscal thing to do, to in fact write off these debts. And I might add, it doesn't mean that they're totally forgotten.
Right.
They're still pursued, not necessarily saying that they're going to eventually be collected in all cases. But it's just something that has to be done. But the most important part is that the staff has recognized it and in fact is trying to take the steps that are useful to try to prevent this. And one of the things, and if I recall correctly, we've got one coming up, financial literacy classes are coming up, which we have advertised in the Academy newsletter, I believe. That's one of the steps taken to try to help our residents become more financially responsible, so that they don't have to get into this situation.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the proposed write-off for this quarter is about $66,000, which is a little bit higher than the first quarter, which was $45,000, but it is considerably less than the same time period of last year. So to reiterate your points, we are working on trying to minimize. Eugenia Pascal, Controller, will walk us through the detail.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Eugenia Pascal, Controller. The agency's current policy is to provide for an allowance for any tenant accounts receivables, which have been outstanding for over 90 days. The staff also recommends to the Commission on a quarterly basis the write-off of uncollected receivables from past tenants. The proposed write-off for the second quarter ended December 31, 2019 amounted to $66,280. About 95% or $62,800 of this total consists of unpaid receivables from Opportunity Housing properties, largely from former tenants at DPC-1 Corporation, TPM Development Corporation, MPD-2, and NCI-1 at Harvest Glenway. RAD properties and supportive housing program contributed as well. They accounted for $2,264 and $1,154 respectively. Most of the write-offs are from former tenants who either left their units voluntarily or were evicted for non-payment. If we combine the first and the second quarters of fiscal year 20, the total write-offs will amount to $111,556, a decrease of about $230,000 compared to the same period last fiscal year. And this is attributed to the decrease registered at DPC-1 and DPC-2. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Before I make the motion, this just reminds me, let me just point out to my colleagues, in the back of the room, we have our scattered site managers who in fact are managing a lot of these properties that we just talked about. They were in attendance at the award ceremony. I had a chance to talk with some of them. But the point, one of the things that we talked about was just their working efforts to in fact improve those issues that we have around some of the scattered sites. And I just wanted to acknowledge the work that they're doing. And with that,
Why don't we stand up and so we can acknowledge who you are? Thank you very much for your service.
and with that, I will move approval of Resolution 20-19.
I second Resolution 20-19.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve Resolution 20-19. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. So ordered.
Thank you. And now we will move to renewing a property management contract. Where's Jay? Oh, I didn't see you, Jay. Trinita and Jay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For
Good
the
afternoon.
record- Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Sharnita Jackson with the Property Management Division. We're here to present the packet for approval to renew the property management contracts at Tanglewood and Slide O'Neill Apartments, Dale Drive, Southbridge Apartments, and Manchester Manor. Here with me is the asset manager that will walk you through the packet.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, Jay Berkowitz, Asset Manager for Property Management. The property management contract with Tanglewood and Sligo Limited Partnership, Dale Drive, Southbridge Apartments, and Manchester Manor Property Management Services is expiring March 31st, 2020. Staff requested the contract for property management services for the Tanglewood cluster be renewed for 1 year with residential one management. Tanglewood and Sligo is a 132-unit garden-style apartment community of 85 affordable high-tech units at 60%, 14 units at 50%, and 33 units at 33%. The property received a score of 87C for its most recent REAC inspection, and the property has maintained an average occupancy of 95% over the last 2 years. Manchester Manor is a 53-unit, 6-story mid-rise community built in 1959 and renovated in 1999. The community consists of 5 market and 48 units restricted at or below 60% AMI. The property received a 98A on its most recent REAC in March of 2019, and the property has maintained an average occupancy of 98% over the last 2 years. Southbridge is a 39-unit mixed-income community built in 1964 and renovated in 2012, located in Tacoma Park. The property has 19 market units and 20 units restricted at or below 50% AMI. The property has maintained 97% occupancy over the last 2 years. Dale Drive is a 10-unit farm community built in 1943 with 8 units restricted at or below 40% AMI. Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless rents the 8 units, and the other 2 units are used by the Coalition for an Office and Living Aid. Renewal of the property management contract for Tangerine, Sligo, Manchester Manor, Dale Drive, and Southbridge for 1 year will not have a budget impact, as the costs associated with the services were factored into the FY 2020 property budget and will be factored into the FY 2021 budget. Additionally, the renewal will be performance-based, so the management fee will be lower if revenue declined below budgeted expectations. In addition to occupancy, performance criteria will include REAC scoring. Staff recommends that the Commission accept the recommendation of the Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee and authorize the Executive Director to execute a renewal of the Property Management Services contract with Residential One Management for the property management services of Tangerine, Sligo, Manchester Manor, Dale Drive, and Southbridge. Do you have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I'm really pleased that we are beginning to see these occupancy rates at 97, 98%, 2 more years at a time. It's been an area where we've wanted to see improvement, and congratulations to all who are helping us drive those occupancy numbers up. We'd like to see them 100%, but that's not the real world, and sometimes they are. And I think that the staff and the management companies that are doing well in this arena really deserve our respect and thanks. They're doing a good job.
Let me also add that one of the other positive, or a couple positive things that I see in the report, which is good. You've outlined who we are housing in these properties. They're frequently, who we house is misunderstood in the county. A lot of people don't understand that we not only house some people at 60%, some at 50%, but we got a lot at 30%. And you're spelling that out fairly clearly here, which shows that it's not just happening at one development or another. And that's been a goal that we've had for a long time. I think the other thing not to be overlooked is that you mentioned REAC. Some people might not understand what REAC is. It's an inspection protocol that was developed by the federal government 100 years ago. And I shouldn't say that since I was there when they developed it. But the properties are generally doing very well under this inspection protocol, which means that, in fact, our property managers, be they third-party managers or HOC, are in fact maintaining these units in good condition for the residents that we serve. And frequently those points are overlooked as we give these kinds of reports. So I just wanted to mention that. And with that,
And let me just make one other point, because I meant to ask this question at the community level. All of these contracts we could do now are performance-based contracts. Do you think that that performance standard has had any impact on the level of seeing better performance, or have we been able to actually lower some fees as a result of having the standard?
Yeah, I think it's too early.
Yeah.
It's too early for the performance-based, but look, competition among and between the private companies certainly helps, right? And so, I mean, I think the fact that we have performance-based contracts and that we'll be adding additional measures to it will help yield more attention. But I think it's the primary factor is competition.
Okay.
But it's also a case where, because of that, and the effort that we've been putting behind it, the third-party managers are understanding a bit more the sincerity with which we're dealing with this issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've seen some of their colleagues replaced on properties,
Yes.
so yes.
So I think that, yeah.
I still would like to get something from the residents to see the performance. I think the last month we asked that. And I just want to see something that they said. I'm not saying anything about
It's fine.
the landlords or whoever, or the property manager. I just want to see something from them that says yay or nay.
Commissioner Kroom, don't disagree. The REACT component, the performance, consistent with whatever our contract is, those are but two measures, right? There will certainly be customer-based survey results, and so we actually are getting the first, we started the survey, so we now are getting some of the first responses in, and so stand by. I mean, it's going to be an interesting ride. So I appreciate you saying that.
And are those reports going to be discussed with the legislative regulatory committee?
Yeah, that would be part of LRC.
LRC, that's what I thought. And I
Although we
mean,
may use prerogative to bring them to more than one committee because
yeah.
they sort of cross.
Well, I mean,
it's a cross.
the BFNA has been very interested
Sure.
in that as
Sure.
a factor in terms of the success or not
Yeah.
of a property. So, I mean, we're all interested in it.
Well,
But I think it's clear that it needs to be shared with the members of the commission.
And look, I mean, ultimately, we're going to find a way to share that with the contractors themselves, because the bottom line is it could be based on an experience or a series of experiences and not necessarily an operational practice, right? But all are valid. Every one of those will be valid.
I think as we get more experience with this particular tool that we're just rolling out and what the expected results are and what the range of results are, we can build that as a contract performance metric as well. I think you don't want to put it in the first year it's done because you don't know what the baseline should be at that point. But I think over time that should become another aspect of performance-based contracting.
Very good.
Okay. With that, I'll move approval of Resolution 20-20.
I'll second it.
It's been probably moved and second to approve Resolution 2020. Any further questions?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. So ordered.
And now we'll have a recommendation for approval of a property management contract with the Willows Apartments.
Again, for the record, my name is Sharnita Jackson, Director of Property Management. We're here seeking approval to renew the property management contract at the Willow Apartments. The asset manager will walk you through the package.
My name is Millicent Evelyn, and I'm an asset manager in the property management department. I'm requesting approval to renew the property management contract for the Willows Apartments. The current contract with Edgewood expires on March 31st, 2020, and I'm requesting that the contract be renewed through January 14th, 2021. The Willows Apartments is a 195-unit garden-style community located in Williamsburg. All units are restricted to households earning at or below 60% of AMI. The property is well
questions?
I move approval of resolution 20-21.
I second
And
resolution.
note, by the way, that your question was just answered,
Yes.
that react scoring is going to be part of.
Yeah.
We've heard a motion to approve 20-21. That's been seconded. Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. Next item.
Now we'll hear about the Lindley from the same two. Miller.
My name is Millicent England, and I'm an asset manager in the property management department. I'm requesting approval to extend the property management contract for CCL Multifamily LLC in Lindley. The current contract with Bethesda expires on May 2nd, 2020, and I'm requesting that the contract be extended through September 30th, 2020. The Lindley is a luxury mixed income development for 200 units. Currently, the property is 68% occupied, including pending and approved applications. The property is 71% leased. Staff recommends a 5-month extension to Bethesda's contract to provide staffing continuity during the summer, which has been the most productive leasing period of the year. Last year, the months with the highest net absorption were May to August, with an average of 16 units leased per month. This year, to achieve occupancy of 94% by September 2020, average unit absorption is expected to exceed 7 units per month on average. Extending the management contract with Bethesda through September 30, 2020 will ensure staff remains focused on achieving stabilization before the end of the summer. An RFP will be issued in March 2020 for property management services starting October 1st, 2020. The Budget Finance and Audit Committee recommends extending the property management contract with Bethesda for the lending through September 30, 2020. The renewal contract will be performance-based, so fees will be lower if revenue declines below budgeted expectations. Do you have any questions?
Two questions. To your knowledge, what's the confidence level of the management company that we're going to achieve 94% occupancy by September?
We have strong occupancy, or we have strong confidence in that number. If you'll notice, the unit absorption expected this year is less than what they achieved last year. So last year they achieved 16 units per month during the summer. This year we're budgeting 7 units on average, so that's an achievable number that they've accomplished in the past. Also, last month in February, we had 6 units of net absorption, which is pretty strong for February, still being the summer. So we're expecting to see higher absorption in the summer this year.
And when are we required to reach stabilization as a result of financing?
The financing is already converted to perm, so there are no more requirements for the financing to reach certain stabilization criteria. We're budgetary for reasons. We definitely are expediting occupancy as much as possible.
She's essentially saying we need the thing to break even.
I hear you.
Right.
Okay. I move approval of resolution 20-22.
Moved and seconded. A second.
I second resolution 20-22.
One question. You indicated you're going to issue an RFP for continuing management services at Lindley. Is it the current contract that you have with Bethesda does not allow you to extend it beyond the 5 months?
So the current contract expires in May, and we're extending it. So per the procurement policy, we have to put it out for RFP
Okay.
after the
Okay.
current contract expires.
Okay, fine. Any other questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now
Next, we have Development Finance Committee. Jackie?
Yes. The staff is going to present to us authorization to accept a financing package provided by DHCA to complete renovation of Brook Park Apartments in Bethesda. This is a property that is vacant at this time and needed considerable renovation.
Good afternoon, members of the commission. For the record, I'm Kayleen Brown, and with me is Gio Cavalazzi, who will
present the item requesting approval to accept additional loan proceeds from DHCA. Before I turn it over to Gail, I just want to mention for the record that HOC works really hard with our partners at DHCA to ensure that affordable housing is preserved in all parts of the county. And the location for Brook Park is no different. We've worked really hard to get to this point amidst the challenges posed at this site, at this location, and we're very close to delivering back to the market, the Brook Park, the 17 units at Brook Park, and we aim to continue to work with our partners at DHCA to ensure the preservation of affordable housing throughout the county, whether it's a 17-unit development or a 500-unit development. And with that, I will turn over to Gil to discuss with you the request for accepting additional funds.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Gil Cavalazzi, Real Estate Division. As Katie mentioned, this property was acquired back in 2013. The county DHCA exercised its right of first refusal right and assigned that right to HOC. And DHCA also extended the acquisition loan of $5.2 million at the time. And the property had already been entitled for redevelopment into 10 townhome units, and then we had to go through a lengthy and expensive re-entitlement process for the property. The preliminary plan amendment process was concluded in 2019, and now the property is ready for renovation. All 17 units at the property are entitled to be NPDUs.
Yeah, Gil, just a quick interruption. So the entitlement, the prior entitlement to townhomes would have caused these 17 naturally occurring affordable units in Bethesda to become privately owned units. And so they would have been lost to the Bethesda submarket, which we all know and most of the public knows was facing a pretty significant investment, but a shortage, severe shortage of affordable housing, and certainly rental affordable. And so yes, the entitlement process was lengthy because they are lengthy, but what's happening here is a preservation of those units in the rental market. And so that's the sort of unique component. And when we talk, we start to weigh cost benefit. The benefit of keeping perpetually affordable opportunities, which were already in Bethesda, affordable into the future, far outweighs the challenges that the entitlement process would require.
This location is supreme. It's at Sangamore and MacArthur Boulevards, very close to the district line, excellent schools. The stabilization or revitalization of this property is in an area that would be unreachable and clearly would have been lost to very expensive housing. Mm-hmm. And so 17 families will be able to benefit from this. And we appreciate the efforts, anguishing as they are, or have been.
Thank you. And just to quickly mention, the renovation has already started on site in December of 2019, funding from the remaining balance from the initial loan. But to complete the renovation, there is a need for additional loan, and the HCA has proposed a package to finance the completion of renovation. That used to be funded from federal home funds, county housing initiative fund, and potentially also some energy efficiency improvement related county funds. And so today we're requesting your authorization to accept that financing package and complete the renovation.
I always like the use of the word accept. It's always better than paying out.
Or pleading for it.
Yeah. Any discussion? Motion to approve?
I move the resolution number 2023 to accept financing package from DHCA to complete the renovation.
I second.
And probably moved and seconded to approve resolution 2023. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. So ordered. Next item.
Thank you.
And if I may, to note for the record that we are continuing discussions with the county, although it's been approved by their committee. The final word hasn't been made with regard to the approval of these funds, but we believe that ultimately the funding will be provided. The commission has approved it, subject to their providing the funds, but we believe that it will happen as there's strong support for returning these units to the marketplace.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that it's subject to appropriation. I mean, it really, I mean, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Now we turn our attention to Elizabeth House 3.
And again, for the record, I'm Kayreen Brown. With me now is Hansuk Choi, and we're asking your approval to increase the contract value for CDC Capital LLC to assist with the management of agreements between HOC and Montgomery County for the construction of the South County Regional and Recreational Center at Elizabeth Square. Basically, by way of background, their HOC executed a general development agreement with the Department of General Services for the construction of the recreational and aquatic facility at Elizabeth Square, and it's a very complex document with a number of requirements and pretty much all the risks falling to HOC. There's a need for assistance to manage that part of the process. And so the request is to approve a change order so that HOC will have the necessary assistance with that agreement for the next 4 years of construction. I think I've said most of what Hansuk will say to you, but I will have there are some more details. There are a few more details that I think the commission needs to hear, and so I'll turn it over to him to provide those proposed to you.
Thank you, Kerry. Good afternoon, Commissioner. For the record, my name is Hansuk Choi. I'm the Senior Finance Analyst on the Real Estate Development Team. So we are here today seeking your approval of a recommendation of a Development Finance Committee to execute a change order under existing contract with the CDC Capital for management of the General Development Agreement gross maximum price contract and the design build contract between HOC and Montgomery County for South County Regional Recreation and Aquatic Center at Elizabeth Square. Staff further recommends authorization for Executive Director to execute a change order. Early last year, the Commission approved the task order on the current contract with the CDC Capital to continue serving as a development consultant. On the September 3rd, 2019, HOC engaged Johnson Lang LaSalle as a construction manager through the request for proposal RP number 2056 process. The final development budget is including fees related to the development consulting and the construction management service to assist the HOC complete the design and the constructions of the Elizabeth House 3 development, including scratch. Karen just mentioned about the last year on October 2019, HOC executed GDA, GMP, and DBC. This is called the county contract with the Montgomery County to act as a turnkey developers for the scratch. The county contract is a place of substantial requirement and obligation on the HOC that was not fully anticipated when the CDC Capital was initially engaged. Those obligations are above and behind what is normally required for the typical construction, place all risk on the HOC for any deviation from the documentations and insert another layers of the oversight between HOC and its consultants requiring additional coordination. While staff would normally issue a request for proposal in order for the commissions to meet its obligation to the county, because of the complexity of the construction, staff solicited a proposal from CDC Capital to evaluate against the provision contained in an executed jail contract for the additional service. Based on the fee proposal and its experience with the negotiating the documentation with the county, staff proposed to engage CDC Capital LLC to providing additional service to managing HOC obligation under county contracts with the county by executing a change order to existing engagement. I'm happy to answer your question.
I think I would like to speak to the issue of change orders being an anathema to me. And I have indicated that numerous times. But the complexity of this project clearly, with the numerous cast of characters involved, clearly requires this added scrutiny and coordination. And this is the first development with the magnitude of this development. And I think a change order is most appropriate in this case, and my colleagues on the committee bring this forward with our support, knowing that on the next similar project, it won't be a change order.
Yes.
It will be included in the original contract.
Yes.
And so I would like, on behalf of the committee, to move approval of Resolution 2024.
Second.
It's been probably moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2024. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have no items requiring deliberation or action. And do we have any future action items?
No.
We have none of those. So I get a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
It's been probably moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. So ordered. We will now call to order the Metropolitan Development Corporation meeting to approve the calendar year's 22nd quarter budget amendments. Is there a motion to, is it was presented by Cornelia?
Yeah, I'll just.
Okay.
Good afternoon. For the record, again, I'm Cornelia Kent, Chief Financial Officer, and with me is Terry Fowler, our Budget Officer, and we are here to request a budget amendment for the Metropolitan Development Corporation, and Terry will go ahead and walk us through that briefly.
Thank you, Cornelia. For the record, this is Terry Fowler, and Budget Officer. This packet is in connection with a packet approved by the Commission for the agency budget, and we are amending the Metropolitan Development Corporation to unrestrict the cash that will be used to cover the shortfall on the affordable units that we transferred into opportunity housing for this property. And I'd be happy to address any questions you may have.
Is there a motion to approve Resolution 20-001ME?
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the Metropolitan Development Corporation, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. So ordered. I now call the Patterson Square Development Corporation meeting to order. This is for request to approve the property management contract at Paddington Square Apartments.
Again, for the record, my name is Sharnita Jackson, the Director of Property Management, and we're here seeking approval to renew the property management contract with Residential One at Paddington Square. The asset manager, Jay, will walk you through the packet.
For the record, Jay Berkowitz, Asset Manager for Property Management. Property management contract with Paddington Square Development Corporation for management services is expiring March 31st, 2020. Staff requests that the contract for property management services for Paddington Square be renewed for 1 year with Residential One manager. Paddington Square Development Corporation is a 165-unit garden-style apartment community of 98 market units and 67 units that are affordable under the county HIF program, with 14 units at or below 50% AMI and 53 units at or below 60% AMI. The property received a score of 94B for its most recent re-act inspection this year, and the property has maintained an average occupancy of 98% over the last 2 years. The renewal of the property management contract for Paddington Square for 1 year will not have a budget impact, as the costs associated with the services were factored into the FY 2020 and the FY 2021 project budget. Additionally, the renewal will be performance-based, so the management fee will be lower if revenue decline below budgeted expectations. In addition to occupancy, performance criteria will include REACT score. Staff recommends that the members of the Paddington Square Development Corporation accept the recommendation of the Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee and authorize the Executive Director to execute a renewal of the Property Management Services contract with Residential One Management for property management services at Paddington Square. If you have any questions.
Are there any questions?
I move approval of Resolution 20001 PS.
Second?
It's been properly moved to approve a motion to approve Resolution 20-001 PS. Questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the Paddington Square Development Corporation, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Been probably moved and second to adjourn the meeting of the Paddington Square Apartment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. That ends the business of the day for the commission.
Can we have an administrative session?
We do have
Yes.
it.
You have that.
We have to reopen the commission meeting.
Yep.
Because we didn't make the motion to go into administrative session.
Correct, correct.
So
So
make a motion
I,
to
do we
reopen.
have to reconsider? I mean, you want to go through all that? Just open the meeting of
I'm going to
the,
reopen the meeting to consider the,
to get a motion from
get a motion.
the vice chair.
Pursuant to Section 3-305B of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, I move to adjourn this open session to a closed session in order to consider the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and matters directly related thereto, and to comply with specific constitutional, statutory, or judicially imposed requirements that prevents public disclosure about a particular proceeding or matter.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions to enter into the administrative session? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed is nay. So ordered. We will now go into administrative session.
Hang out, guys.
All right, you, is that for your first?
Yeah.